Hey everyone, welcome back to the Daily Tri. My name's Travis, and this is the Triathlon Weekly News Roundup, presented by thefeed.com. Well guys, I'm finally back from Roth. What an amazing time I had there. I was so excited to see so many of you in person and meet so many fresh faces. It was such a fun time, and I'll recap it all at the end of this video. But for now, we've got plenty of news to dive into. But before we do, I just want to say we hit 10,000 subscribers. Thank you all so much. It makes me so happy to see that there's... Let's start off with last weekend's race results, and we can't not start with Jan Frodeno breaking the tape for the first time, I believe, since 2021. So it's been a couple of years for him. It's great to see him back. He's finding his run legs, it seemed, as he was really challenged by a short course athlete, Jonas Schomburg, on the swim and the bike. Jonas swam faster than Jan by almost a minute, which I don't think anybody's done in a very long time. And then he had a road bike, so he was descending faster in those beautiful mountains of Andorra and just wasn't able to hold on to the run. However, Jonas did get a 70.3 world spot, which is quite a scary proposition in my mind if he can find those run legs for the half marathon. But Jan, what an absolute legend. This guy commentated Challenge Roth all day long into the evening, handing out medals. Went straight to Nice to test out the bike course there and do some workouts there, and then somehow made it to Andorra and won the 70.3. And then at the same race, it was Ashley Gentle versus Emma Pallant-Brown, and they both actually rode road bikes during the race, but Ashley seemed really at home on her road bike, as she does train there right now with Josh Hamburger. She put almost 7 minutes into Emma Pallant-Brown, and then they both ran exactly the same half marathon split. So I wish we could have seen a sprint finish between those two, but I'm sure we'll see them meet up a few more times, and I'm sure it'll be more even when it's not such a crazy course as Andorra. But from there, we had Ironman Frankfurt with the Women's European Championship, and this one was really interesting to me. Monch came into that probably as the favorite, even though Sarah True had taken the victory in Arizona over her, and she managed to do it again. It was a bit of a back and forth race, and Sarah just is a great runner, a great marathon runner, and she got redemption. For those of you that didn't pick it up probably during the live stream, but Sarah came there in 2019 and lost the race in the last kilometer. She actually didn't even get to finish. She just needed medical attention. She overcooked it, and in this race, she finally got her redemption. So that must have felt so good for her, and it looked like a great race all around, with Sky Monch taking second place. Leon Chevalier over at the Les Sables 70.3 ran a 1:10 half marathon on what seemed like a pretty hard course. Beat defending champion and short course athlete Pierre Lecour, who's actually really good at the half distance. So Leon will be pretty chuffed with that. He's ranked number 10 in the world, and he needed a good result after a poor one in Ibiza. On the women's side, Charlene Clavel, who was actually a professional handball player before switching to triathlon, she picked up a win there, and I think she's an athlete to keep an eye on for the future. Next, we had two challenge races. One race was in Austria, where in some terrible conditions, Frederick Funk managed to take the win over his friend Tom Bishop. I saw a text from Triathlon Hour. He shared what Tom Bishop sent to him, and that was saying that Frederick was a maniac, not scared obviously of the conditions they were riding in, and that really played out to his advantage. We also had Challenge Vansbro, where it was Anna Bergsten from Sweden. That's where the race took place, who won on the women's side, and South African Matt Troutman, who looked pretty sharp with a really good win there. Also a short course Grand Prix race where Matt Hauser beat Alex Yee, which, by the way, is really hard to do if you guys don't follow short course racing. It was actually Alex Yee's first loss this season. Matt Hauser came off the bike 20 seconds ahead of Alex and somehow managed to keep that exact same gap through the end of the run. So if he's doing that at a sprint distance race, that is extremely impressive, and I think he's going to take a lot of momentum going forward into the rest of the year. So keep an eye out on Matt Hauser, the Australian. So quite a few athletes raised their rankings and their net worth in these races, but it was Jan who banks his third race and moves up to a pretty modest 19th in the world, if you ask me. A long way back from the number one that this guy probably would be used to, and he'll be hoping that that US Open will help him jump up way higher. All right, and then on to the up and coming races, and it's quite a slow month in June, but we do have WTCS Hamburg, which is gonna be a ripper of a race, it always is. And then we also have Ironman Switzerland, beautiful race of course. Alistair was on that list to qualify for Nice, but after last checking, he has removed his name. So it looks like we're not gonna see him again racing to qualify for Nice, which means he's only got one more chance, and that would be at Lake Placid in North America. So interesting to see when that start list comes out. It hasn't shown up just yet. We haven't heard anything from Alistair, what's wrong with him. Hopefully it's nothing big, and hopefully we can see him at Nice, because I don't think the race would quite be the same without him. He's so interesting to watch, and he just adds such a good dynamic, and seeing him and Jan race is just the best thing ever in my opinion. So let me know what you think. You think Alistair is gonna make it to Nice? It'll be pretty nail-biting, I think, if he races Lake Placid. All right, then we're on to the news headlines I saw throughout this week. First off, Sam Laidlow's calf tear, which is a pretty tough pill to swallow for someone who is having quite a run of bad luck so far this year. Not the year he would have been hoping for following Kona. However, this injury should heal up quick enough for him to get ready for Nice. Let's hope so. Fingers crossed, because I'd love to see another epic performance like he gave us in Kona. And then the second piece of news, Sam Long and Lionel Sanders training together. I can't believe this has taken so long to happen, but it seems like due to schedules and different coaches, they've never been able to mesh. But crazy enough, I thought they would have at least tried to mesh for the YouTube channels or for the media at least. So it finally is great to see that they were able to do that. And I wonder if they'll do it more often, and we'll see them become the next Christian and Gustav. So following that, speaking of Sam, it looks like he's decided to stick with middle distance this year. After not qualifying at Ironman Coeur d'Alene, we saw he had 3 flats there during that race. Super unlucky, but man, he's still got lots of important races to do in the middle distance, including Worlds in Finland, which looks to be his priority. But his schedule can't be too tight with a baby shortly on the way. However, he did say that Chris Leiferman managed to pull off the victory in Coeur d'Alene after his child was born just a day before the race. And then the next bit of news was 70.3 Tremblant has been rescheduled. It is now going to take place during the Ironman Tremblant race. So that'll be interesting. I think it's a good opportunity for some other pros to maybe take a podium there, as a lot of those top athletes probably don't have an ability to reschedule that race back into their calendar. So that'll be interesting to see if any of them still do prioritize that race. Next bit of news I had to share it as I'm a huge fan. Javier Gomez is back running. So clearly this legend of the sport is on the mend, and if he's just started running now, we probably won't see him at a start line too soon. I have reached out to him because I'd love to share it with you guys, but he's such a dangerous athlete. His career is phenomenal, and I think once he gets going again, we might see him back at the top. So just had to share that. I saw that on his story. I hope to see him soon. And then from there, the UK is discontinuing 70.3 Staffordshire and making Ironman UK a 70.3 with no plans to add anything else in replacement. So if I have any UK followers out there, let me know what you think of that. Does it even matter really with the EU being so close and so many races within touching distance? Or do you wish that there was a more local race for the UK? Finally, pretty big news that I think got swallowed up in all the news about Roth, but there's gonna be no PTO Collins Cup this year, which I couldn't believe to hear that news. I've been hearing rumors about it for months, being in Morocco, but it looks like they didn't get the logistics and the timing down, and we'll have to wait to see it in 2024. All right, so then we're through the news headlines, and now we're on to the video of the week, which this week is Els Visser's video that I saw on the PTO Instagram. Absolutely amazing. Probably the craziest triathlon story I've ever heard for someone getting into the sport. I'm not going to give away any spoilers. You just have to go check it out. All right, and then we've got the article of the week, and this week it's Tri247's quick article on Martin Clark's Triathlon Impossible, which featured a heap of swimming, biking, and running across 5 European countries. It's an amazing read, just a quick sum up of what he did there. I love challenges like this, and I'd love to do one day, so go check that one out for sure. The recommendation of the week, and that is this book right here. I read this on the plane flight over to Frankfurt to challenge Roth, and I was crying on the plane. I was embarrassing myself a little bit. It was so funny. It's so relatable. It's called My Coworkers Think I'm a Pro. And Brock sent this to me and wrote a note in it, but he didn't tell me to share anything about it. I just had to because it's too good not to check out. And if you like a bit of crude, coarse humor, self-deprecating humor, this is your book, and I've just had a lot of fun reading it. And my hot take is on safety in triathlon. I think it's pretty rough, to say the least, and has a lot of improvement, and obviously we've seen that more recently. I wrote my full take on it on Triathlete's big monthly roundup, which I wrote, so you can check it out on there, but I believe there's lots of room for improvement to keep it short. Interestingly enough, I saw Patrick Lange talking about it on the Triathlon Hour's latest podcast with him, saying that CEO Andrew Messick called him after he was vocal on social media about some changes that need to be made, which is awesome to see. It sounds like he really thinks Andrew cares about the sport and that changes will be made going forward, which he said that we saw at Ironman Frankfurt with a reduction in the number of motorcycles. Hopefully it's something that's proactive and keeps going, and it looks like it's gonna be, which is awesome to hear. And then also it was fascinating to hear that Andrew is gonna be joining Jack Kelly on that Triathlon Hour to talk more with him, which we never probably would have guessed would have happened after the way their last podcast went. So really excited to hear that one. Looks like it might be coming out next week. So I'll be interested to hear, especially if they talk about safety, which I'm sure they will in that podcast. All right, and then if you guys just came here for the news, I'm gonna explain my Challenge Roth story a little bit now, so feel free to tune out if you need to, or if you wanna hear it. I figured it's pretty fun, so I'll share it with you. So if you didn't hear anything about the Challenge Roth story, I made a short video for a competition Challenge Roth was doing to become a field reporter. They picked me, and I flew out to go try and become a field reporter for them and also help them with their social media. But before I headed out there, I, on Sunday, did a half Ironman distance race called the Beastman in Oregon. It actually took place in Bend, Oregon, where Eric and Paula live. By the way, that's so beautiful. If you've never been, I could tell why they live and train there. The race was epic. It was an 800-meter downstream swim, so I swam like 104 per 100. Super fun. Got rescued halfway up the bike ride on Mount Bachelor because it started blizzarding, so I got to ride down, thank goodness, because I was dying up there. And then I ran the half marathon in about 1:54, which is pretty good for me right now. I'm nothing special athletically at the moment. So I did that race, then I unpacked quickly from that and repacked to go to Roth, which took about 30 hours to get to. So let me tell you, traveling there solo, having real no idea what I was getting in for, and having never done any of this before, was a little bit intimidating, and it was, interesting, but my whole mindset was, why not? Once in a lifetime opportunity, I was gonna make the most of it. But when I got there, they put you up in these homestays with the local people, and my homestay was just amazing. I'm telling you, we were drinking wine at night, and they cooked me food, and they just took care of absolutely everything I could ever ask for, and they told me stories about Roth and about the race, and it just made it so, I would have been satisfied heading home after just staying with my homestay. It really made the whole thing special. So from there, as if it couldn't get any better, the Challenge family and all of those on the Challenge team made me feel so at home. They welcomed me. They were so excited that I came all the way across the world for the race. So I was feeling really good. And from there, it was just a whirlwind before the race began. There's lots of meetings that go involved with the production of the broadcast. And by the way, that is so much more insane than you could ever imagine. Like whatever you picture to put on a live stream and a broadcast for the pros, double it and then times that by 10, because it was insane. And it was so exciting for me because I got to work alongside Belinda Granger, who's at those meetings, and she has so much love and passion for the sport. And she actually does a lot more than I thought for the production and is involved with so much in that. And so that was really awesome to see. So I had to learn about what I was going to do technically with all my gear, as well as learn how I was going to operate with the motorcyclist and on the motorcycle. And then, yeah, we were just doing a lot of other social media things. I was also doing interviews leading up to the race.
Dr. Dina Al-Tayyib is a mother, a dentist, and has competed in over 100 triathlons. But this week at Challenge Roth, she'll be the first
that they would show during the broadcast. So, and then comes race day, and oh my goodness, starting at 5 a.m., trying to get there, find parking. I was supposed to get on a boat and show the pros swimming, but I couldn't manage to get on a boat. Good thing I didn't get on a boat because there was no signal anywhere except for one specific spot where Jan and Belinda managed to call down to me, and I gave a quick update on the swimmers. I was super nervous because all this gear was new to me, and to be honest, it wasn't that great. And like I said, the service was terrible because there were so many people. So definitely intimidating, but like I said, I was kind of in a why not mindset, and I was just gonna give it my best shot. So from there, I grabbed another Olympic swimmer who was doing the race, and I managed to do an interview with her, which I think went okay. But during that time, I mean, it was hard for me to hear anything, hard for me to see anything on the phone that I was filming with, and also I was plugged into Jan and Belinda on the studio, as well as the producer who was telling us what and when to say and when we'd be live, etc. So lots going on while also trying to do an interview and watch the pros, etc. So really big lessons learned there. From the swim start, I then tried to keep up with the pros on their motorcycles. And quick note on that, they really took the safety of the motorcycles extremely to the next level. I went to the motorcycle briefing before the race, and everyone was there, and it was very serious, and they were not messing around. They showed slides of the Hamburg incident, and so they were obviously looking for that never to happen in a challenge race. So that was really good, and I felt comfortable getting on a motorcycle. But when I was out on course, and we were driving around, it was so hard to keep up with the pros because they were going so fast. And with the way the age groupers are across the road and with the speed limits and with the rules that the motorcyclists have, we could barely keep up with them. And by the time we'd get ahead and I'd try to get it set up for a shot, sometimes the broadcast would have a guest on and I couldn't quite get a slot to report on the race or get an interview. So I tried quite a few times. I think I only got back on camera one more time and the signal wasn't working too great. So I tried my best, but from there I just went to other spots along the course, tried to do some interviews and send social media things into Challenge for them to share. So epic experience. They've invited me back to do it again.
Shake on that, you're coming back next year. That's all there is to it.
Cheers.
Well, that I did not expect to happen. It was not planned. They called me last minute for me to hop on there and for them to talk about the video I sent in, and that was just a huge honor. I was super nervous, as you can imagine, talking to those two legends live on air, and yeah, I think I just did enough not to make too much of a fool of myself, but afterwards I was beaming from ear to ear, super happy and lucky to have that experience. So I felt a little guilty that I couldn't have done more than I did, but I mean, after being at that finish line and watching people come in and the light show, and there was just a lot of emotion in the air. Everybody was loving it, and I can't wait to come back, hopefully every year, to do that. And I hope you guys get to experience one time what that's like, although the race is extremely hard to get into, with it selling out again in 40 seconds of this year, which is absolutely mental. But even if you could go spectate it and just be involved somehow, it's totally worth it. So I traveled home from there, and I'm ready to get back into creating a lot more content, especially now as I'm attempting to do this full time. When I say full time, and I said it earlier, it's not that I'm actually making money from this channel. I'm literally doing enough just to have quit my other job and survive. So if you want to support this and support me trying to do this and I plan to go be a videographer at more races. I was just a little too busy at Challenge Roth to get a lot of footage and stuff, but I would love to go to races specifically to get footage and get interviews and follow a pro. So if that's something you'd like to support me doing, please consider the Buy Me a Coffee or Patreon membership, where it's like $1 a month and you can sign up to support me. It really does help, so thank you. And so speaking of, I'm going to try and get to 70.3 Oregon, as well as the PTO US Open, and then head to Nice in September if I can. So that's the plan right now. I'm really excited. So please stay tuned. And also, I'm going to be starting a podcast from those 7 questions interviews that I've been doing. I'll also put them up on YouTube. But I didn't realize how much I'd enjoy doing the interviews, talking to the pros, giving them a platform to share what they're up to. So you'll be seeing a podcast pop up for me pretty soon. With that said, I need your help. Please tell me who you'd like to hear on the podcast, as well as tell me what content you'd like to see from me. Would you like to see me at the races? Would you like to see me reporting? Would you like training content? Because I'm always training as well. Would you like to see vlogs, beginner tips and tricks, or all of the above? I'm probably gonna try them all out to see if you guys like them or to see if I can be consistent with them. So hopefully you enjoy all of that. And with that long episode, thank you so much for staying tuned. I hope you enjoy and have a good one. All the best training. We'll see you later.